Well, the Waterford footballers will face Westmeath for the first time in Championship football on Sunday at 3 o'clock in Cusick Park, Mullingar. Last week I dropped into training at the Dungarvan Club grounds, where I spoke to Dacia captain Brian Looby, long-serving attacker JJ Hutchinson, and firstly manager Benji Whelan about this crucial qualifier. I suppose, Benji, the last time I was talking to you was immediately after that loss to Clare. How have the last couple of weeks gone in your view?
Good, yeah. Good response since. I think we took a lot of positives from that game. It probably showed us some of the things that we can push on with, and I think we finished the game very, very strongly. And with that in mind, I think the lads have taken a lot of lift from that, and we're going to bring that in hopefully into the next game, and if we can perform, I suppose, in the first half the way we performed in the second half in that game, we can really upset the apple cart, we hope.
Yeah, I know yourself and the players were fairly sore after that game against Clare. Maybe a couple of regrets, Benji. How did you feel when you watched it back?
Look, I know there was a lot of hurt from people who care a lot about football in Waterford, and you can see that it was a case of, oh, Jesus, so near and so far yet again, and of course that rang true with us as we went home in the bus, and I suppose looking at it again, I suppose people have to have a little bit of patience with us too. They have to understand that, where we're coming from, we've got to build them. We've got to build progressively, and it's a slow, methodical build that we're trying to do, and that just takes time. These teams that we're facing up to can readily cut through you pretty quickly, and you just have to be careful that you lay the foundations initially in the game that gives you the momentum and perhaps gives you the confidence to go ahead and push on at the later stages of that game. And that's essentially what we did in Clare. I still look, I mean, it's regretful that it finished up the way it did, but if you asked me to go out and play the game again, I probably wouldn't change a whole lot. Perhaps allow the lads a little bit more latitude to push on a little bit earlier, but that's something that they're going to have to grasp the mettle of themselves, I feel. It's something that we've empowered them with, and we're trying to get them to actually take that on, and that'll come as they get more and more, I suppose, settled into the system, and as they become more and more confident with the way they're playing, and as they learn to assess, I suppose, the opposition that bit better.
Have you managed to fit in many challenge matches over the last couple of weeks, Benji?
Yeah, we've got a couple of good workouts. We played Limerick, I think it was the week after. Yeah, it was the week after, maybe 8 days after. Good outing. But again, we played Offaly subsequently then the following weekend. And there were two very good outings for us. Absolutely no doubt about it. We can't read too much into those games. Challenges are exactly challenges. They're no match for championship, and they don't give you anything that a championship match will give you. They just allow lads to stretch their legs, maybe gain a bit of confidence, try things. I suppose reinforce what we're about from the point of view of structures and that kind of thing. But they were healthy outings for all the guys that got it. Sorry, I meant to say we actually played a tip development squad group as well. So most of the guys in the challenge and in the panel, if not all of them, have got a lot of game time at this stage in between the Clare game and this game, and it's given them an opportunity to show their wares again.
I know you're carrying injuries into that Clare game. Aaron Beresford, Aidan Trihey, David Hallahan, have they cleared up, Benji?
Well, I mean, Aidan's long term, and unfortunately Aaron has done a bit of damage to his cruciate. At the same time, he's dislocated that kneecap, so for the foreseeable he's out, unfortunately. We have a couple of niggles, excesses of those actually since, but it's probably more of a consequence of the hard ground, so it's something that we'd be hoping just to nurse along and have him absolutely right for the game. Not ideal, because you want lads really training well in the run up to it, but look, we're probably in better shape now, I would say, than we were going into the Clare game. So look, there'll be no excuses, Tomas, absolutely not.
And I believe we brought some fresh bodies into the panel as well, Benji. How have they fared over the last few weeks?
Yeah, we won't mention any names, but a couple of them have made good strides. Absolutely, they're chomping at the bit to play. You can see that from the way they're going about their business, and that's what we want. We want guys to come in here and grasp the mettle, I suppose, and just really show us that they want to play, because it's all about appetite at the end of the day, and it's quite a simple game, and we know there's pressures involved in these games. But that said, it's all about guys who want to go out and just get on the ball and play the ball, and when guys come into the setup and they exhibit those kind of characteristics, that's exactly what we want.
Have you come up to speed with what Westmeath will posed to you now next Sunday, Benji, since the name was pulled out of the hat?
Barely, Tomas, at this stage now, very early in the day. So I've had a look at a couple of videos. They're kind of they come with caveats. Essentially, that game, the last game they played there on Sunday against Laois, was like, you know, one of a triple header, I suppose you'd call it at this stage. They know each other so well now; it's just hard to know what way they approach that game. You know, I'd have to see a couple of earlier games, and I particularly like to see them playing in Mullingar. I have tape of it. I just need to get down to watch it now. Haven't gotten around to it yet. So it's difficult to know. But look, I mean, like, you know, the one thing I'd say, like, you know, they're up in Division 3, they're going up to Division 2. There's a reason for that. They're capable side. That said, we know what we're about. We'll have no fear, absolutely no fear going up there. We were very eager to get something, you know, what we consider to be middle ground opposition, and this is something that we can go and we can have a real cut at.
Is that the main message trying to get across to the players, Benji, after that Clare game, that you really have nothing to fear? Clare or Division 2 opposition, the last you put them to the pin of their collar right at the very end? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like, you know, I will say I don't think it was Clare that I saw that day in Thurles against Tipperary. And that was essentially their All-Ireland final this year. And I think they perhaps took Waterford for granted. So that goes into the mix. That said, you know, I don't think Westmeath will underestimate us, but they're at home, they're expected to win, there's a lot of pressure on them. I'll be saying to our lads, look, let's go out and have a real cut at this. I mean, you know, we've got absolutely nothing to lose. We know what we're good at, like I've said all along to you in these interviews. We know where our Achilles heels are. We're doing our best to make sure that, you know, those things are covered over, and we have a good base to start with. And then, like, you know, if our lads hit the ground running, they can really do things, and that's what we're looking to show.
You've really racked up the mileage this year, Benji. You've been to Limerick, you've been to Wexford, Leitrim, London, Clare, and now Westmeath. Does that pose additional challenges, I suppose, in planning ahead for this game?
It does. Like, you know, as far as I'm aware, we're going to try and get up there overnight to get to just to bed in. We've travelled to Leitrim on the day, and it was extremely difficult. Now that was our own decision, and that said, like, you know, we learned a lesson from that. The lads were very, very sluggish on the same day, and it's just, you know, a game of magnitude of this, it warrants that we actually, you know, put our best foot forward and do our level best. So it just means that we've got to get up there the night before. It's not easy not sleeping in your own bed, rather, and just trying to accommodate lads and keep them, I suppose, occupied up until game time. Especially a 3 p.m. throw-in is difficult. But look, I mean, we'll set in place a plan, and we'll have everything covered, and, you know, we'll take it in our stride, hopefully.
Just a final on Benji, a lot of talk about this Tier 2 Championship. GA President John Horan hopes to have proposals in for perhaps a special Congress in September or October. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I think it's the way to go. Like, you know, for instance, this particular tie against Westmeath, I mean, you know, if we were playing this and possibly 3 or 4 other ties like this during the summer, it'd be fantastic for these players. These players are going to grow from these games. They're absolutely going to improve. Every game we've played this year, we've sat down, assessed, learned from it, and particularly playing in the summer months when lads want to play, it's going to make it extremely difficult, I suppose, if these proposals go ahead for the club player. But, you know, that said, I suppose, you know, you're catering to the hurling fraternity in Waterford as well, and they would hope to continue on later into the year. So, you know, it means essentially for our footballers that are involved in this group, you know, a better opportunity to perform and a better opportunity to improve, and that's what we're all about.
Lorna Naporka with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.
With Hooper Dolan Insurances. For business insurance you can rely on. More info at hooperdolan.ie.
So I'm here with Waterford forward JJ Hutchinson. JJ, first of all, what was your initial reaction to getting Westmeath in the qualifier draw?
I suppose first of all, I was a bit disappointed it was an away draw. You know, I would have fancied a home draw after going to Ennis in the Munster Championship. But look, it is what it is. I suppose it's nearly another Clare match for all the world, or probably around the similar, you know, Division 2 on the border of Division 3. So we know we probably got a chance to look at some of their highlights from the Laois game, and, you know, they were beaten, but, you know, it's going to Mullingar. It's going to be a test, you know. But overall, look, it could have been a lot worse with the teams that were in the draw. But we'll take it, and we'll go up to Mullingar and do our best.
Were you a little bit frustrated coming away from Ennis after putting up such a strong showing in that second half?
Oh, it was devastation at the end, Moss. You know, point victories are our point losses are, they're not great because you run everything back through your head, and management run through ahead. If I had done this as players, you'd be saying, if I had done this, would have been different if I hadn't a shot, if I had passed it off, But look, we gave up and we went up there and we gave. I suppose we couldn't have really done much more, especially maybe we respected them a little bit too much in the first half, and we kind of sat off them a bit. And when we went at them in the second half, I suppose we had no real other choice in the second half, only to go at them. And look, it nearly paid off, but it wasn't to be on the night,
Yeah, well, that second half gave you plenty of belief, though, heading in against Westmeath, who are probably at a similar level to Clare at the moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because we kind of proved to ourselves, as well as we were going this year and as well as we were training, I suppose behind it all you still have a few doubts, but now we can really kind of believe in ourselves and say, look, we belong here, and we can give a good proper account of ourselves.
You've been involved in a lot of different setups, JJ, like John Owens, Niall Carew, Tom McGlinchey. How does Benji Whelan's setup compare?
Oh, Benji's setup is fantastic. I came back in. He rang me in December, and we were just after winning the Munster Club at Ballygunner, and he said, look, hopefully I won't see it till after the 17th of March, but look, I'll ring you after your commitments with Ballygunner are over. And I'd been talking to a few lads in the meantime about it, and they were saying, look, it's a great setup. And then I came in probably 7 or 8 days after the Ballyhale game, and it's been great ever since. The top notch setup with the lads he has around him, the kit men, everything is kind of borderline. I think he's definitely the man for the job going forward if this county wants to progress football wise.
Did you have a hand in recruiting Desi as well?
It was just he just rang me and just heard that Desi was back and that he wasn't going back playing the soccer this year, and would he have interest in coming. And I said it to Des, and I passed on numbers. So thankfully he is involved, because he's a massive asset to both Galtier and to Waterford, because he comes in after being in a professional setup for 6 years, and he puts his head down and works hard, and we're delighted to have him.
Yeah, he seems to have taken it like a duck to water so far, JJ.
Oh, absolutely. Look, GA was his life up to 15, and still at 15 it was but look, the professional career came calling. You see lads with Australia now, and soccer in England is no different. You have to go and you have to test it and see, because everybody, we'd all love to be professional sports people, and thankfully he got to do it for 6 years. But look, I wouldn't say that it didn't work out or anything like that. The growth for GA with Des was always there. It was always there, and he always played with Waterford through the levels, and thankfully he's in this setup because he's a major coup for us.
Yeah. And finally, JJ, how much would it mean to both yourself, Desi, and the rest of the team to pick up a championship win like you did up in Wexford last summer?
Oh, it'd be fantastic again, Tomas. People say, oh, it was a qualifier win down in Wexford, but look, it'll stand out in my memories from GA moments. When I do look back on my career, I'll say, geez, that day in Wexford was fantastic, because we were up, nobody gave us a chance. We're always when we get knocked out in Munster, people say, oh, you only have one round of the qualifiers and you'll be back then with your clubs or whatever. But last year, when we were unfortunate, with the teams that were left in the draw last year, to get Monaghan, who had a chip on their shoulder after coming back off the back of a Fermanagh defeat that nobody expected. So look, we got the wrong team in the right place for all the world, and it was unfortunate. But look, we'll be going to Cusack Park, and please God, we'll be going into the round 2 of the qualifiers again.
Puts the boot down, he's gone straight through, he's into D, look for an option, chance for a goal here, take the shot. What a goal by JJ Hutchinson! You won't see better in Division 1 football, but they're in Division 14, playing like in Division 1. The man who finished brilliantly after super work by Brian Looby, finished in the net. You won't see better than that goal by JJ.
Lorne Naporka with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.
With Hooper Dolan Insurances. For business insurance you can rely on. More info at hooperdolan.ie.
So I'm here with Waterford football captain Brian Looby. Brian, you've got some tough qualifier draws over the last couple of years, likes of Monaghan and Derry. What was your reaction when Westmeath came out of the hat?
I suppose we were waiting for the draw. The last two teams to come out. We were always kind of towards the end of the draw. So when we got Westmeath, I suppose it was one where you were kind of happy you didn't get like Division 1 teams like Monaghan, but then you're also looking you didn't get some of the so-called weaker teams in it too. So Westmeath are kind of that in between. They just got promoted into Division 2. So I suppose we were kind of approaching it very similar to the Clare game. It was that kind of reaction where they're probably a bit higher up in the league standings, but we know that it's well within our grasp to make a game of it and hopefully get the right result.
Have you any experience of playing Westmeath over the years, Brian?
2 years ago I think we played them down in Ardmore in the league. I remember myself, I was injured, so I didn't get to play against them myself, but I think that was the only game I can remember us playing Westmeath. It was down in Ardmore a couple of years ago, so that was a tough game. I remember some of their kind of standout forwards played very well, John Heslin and Kieran Martin, but we're just hoping now that we can get a better result this time around.
How are you feeling immediately after the Clare defeat? It was kind of another one of those days where it was so near yet so far, Brian.
Yeah, it was a very kind of similar feeling to past dressing rooms, I suppose, the kind of 1 point loss in a game where, you know, it was there for us maybe if it went on 5 minutes longer. I suppose we're trying to move past those games where you think, oh sure, we were great to get within a point. You know, it really was about the result against Clare, and we came up short in the end, and it's just something we don't really care how we try win the game Sunday week, only that we win it, and the result is the most important thing now. We don't want to come close and be, oh sure, we gave it our best. We really just want the win now, regardless of how we play. Yeah,
would a championship win make it all the sacrifices worthwhile, Brian, like the one you got up in Wexford Park last summer?
Absolutely. I mean, like last year you could see how much it meant to beat Wexford, and just to back that up a year later with another win, I think it really would show that we're moving in the right direction. To have not won a qualifier in I don't know how long since, apart from last year, now to put 7 years, and now to put, if we could get 2 wins in 2 years, I mean, it would be great strides for us.
There's a lot of talk around at the moment about Tier 2 competition. I know the GA president is looking for proposals to come forward about that towards the end of the year. What would your thoughts be on that at the moment, Brian?
I suppose I kind of have mixed feelings in it that, well, I know ourselves we'd be in the second division, but I suppose teams likes of Clare and Westmeath, where they don't know would they be in the first tier or the second tier. But I suppose from our point of view, if we were to get the chance to kind of play one of those stronger teams earlier in the year, like play your Munster Championship, and then if you were to lose, be put into a Tier 2 competition, I would be all for that. Like, I mean, we want to play more games. That's what we're looking for at the end of the day, not to play 1 or maybe 2 championship games and to be done for the summer. So if we were to get a run in a Tier 2 competition like that, I'd be all for it anyway.
The ball now is with Nicky Doyle. Doyle is holding it up. He's outside the D. They're 2 down. Is there a score in the Wexford? Oh, the man who picks it up is Looby. Looby went down, and the referee blows his whistle. It's all over. It's all over. And Waterford have beaten Wexford in their home patch. Division 4 team beats Division 3, and Tom Benji is dancing like a 2-year-old.